Hey guys, Off the Mic Sports Network here. Another edition of Off the Top Rope. It has been reported by multiple sources, and we were following this a couple of weeks back, and it looked like, SmackDown was going to stay at 3 hours. But now the reports say that starting July 4th, it's going to be on a holiday, SmackDown is going back to 2 hours. And all I've got to say, and I wish, at some point I'm going to have to figure out how to produce these things a little bit. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Seriously. Hallelujah. SmackDown is they had just had one of their better 3 hour episodes recently, but a lot of this, since the start of this year, has just dragged. If they could and USA would allow it, could they potentially go 2.5 hours? I just don't foresee that being a thing in the way television works. Like, you have hours that you have to pay. It's not by the half hour. So if they were able to, get SmackDown to Netflix and do that for 2.5 hours, that might be a better way. 3 hours was way too much. It was way too much. And I understand that what they were trying to do, give some other opportunities to other underutilized talent. But even at that point, I like Zelina Vega. It really feels like this is kind of like it is a secondary title. It hasn't felt really important. And when Julia beats her, Julia will potentially be able to elevate that championship. But you've got that. The United States Championship, I guess, has kind of felt important. And, you've got stuff there. But there's been points on this show, specifically, after WrestleMania, where this thing just dragged, man. Like, Cody Rhodes wasn't there. John Cena is not around, every single week. Randy Orton took a little bit of a break. I mean, LA Knight's been there, but it's like, listen, there wasn't a deep enough roster to sustain a 3 hour show on SmackDown. And that's one of the reasons why, when I found out that this was going to be consistently a 3 hour show, I think this had to have been a couple weeks to a month ago, where I was like, oh my God, what the fuck are they doing? They're really going to keep this at 3 hours? But it looks like WWE, I think this also might be a USA thing where they're debuting a new show. I think somebody said, and I don't know what truth there is, there's a show called Rainmaker, so all you AEW sickos can say, oh, they got bumped for a show about Okada. It's like, shut the fuck up. Listen, what's going to be interesting to see is, I remember when a lot of people wanted to see Raw go down from 3 hours to 2, and then near the end of last year it did, and the show kind of suffered. So I want to see how they manage time when we get to July 4th and the show goes back to 2 hours. How are they going to be able to, keep a cohesive show together without rushing things and, abbreviating things, make things important, maximize minutes, and have a way to make a cohesive 2 hour show? Because SmackDown, when it was 2 hours, occasionally was a really good watch. But it has, in large chunks, for most of this year, outside of maybe an episode or two, been really unwatchable for the entire 3 hours. It's just like they were filling things. It was like the early stages of Monday Night Raw when they went to 3 hours. They figured out a formula that worked, and now they're doing it at 2.5 hours, maybe sometimes closer to 3. It's going to be interesting to see how they sustain this and, have stories being told throughout the show, going back to their original format and what it was. So it's great news. It's positive news. A lot of people are going to be happy. Some people are going to take it, well, you want less. Guys, I've always said this, and I said this when, the reports were out there that they were going to stay at 3. I was like, listen, sometimes in a lot of respects, less is more, because you just don't need to overload us with wrestling content. Listen, I watch a lot of wrestling. You guys know I watch AEW, and even if it bothers me, I mean, I still watch a lot of content, but it's just at some points, some of the stuff on SmackDown just really felt unnecessary, where you were just, kind of just getting from point. I just hope that the women don't really suffer through this, because I think they've obviously the women's United States Championship picture has been kind of a little bit funkily put together. So, but hey, Naomi's storyline's really developed, and it's going to be interesting to see how she moves forward. We'll see how the Queen of the Ring and the King of the Ring tournament shake out as we head towards that. But this is going to happen. I think it's going to be like the first week after Night of Champions. So that it's going to be a telltale thing. And then we're going to be leading into Saturday night's main event. We'll be leading into obviously SummerSlam coming down the pipeline. So it's going to be interesting to watch this. But, a sigh of relief. I think this was the right decision. A lot of people were freaking out that this was going to be a long-term thing. I'm glad that whether it was a WWE or a USA decision, they understood that, hey, 3 hours is too much for SmackDown. It's better as a 2-hour show. All right. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.